Could I impose upon you to give me one of those, please?
Yeah.
I remembered to put it out, but I didn't remember to take one. Thank you so much.
So Ani means none? Is that Rinpoche? Is that like another?
No, Rinpoche means precious one. And those are the ones who have some kind of accomplishment in the practice. So it can be somebody who's been through 9 years of Buddhist university and then continued.
Okay.
Or it could be somebody who has consciously returned to be of benefit to beings. So that's a Rinpoche, somebody special.
Go ahead.
Okay. Welcome to Stabilizing the Mind meditation, brought to you by Her Eminence Jetsama Akon Lamo and Krensang Pao Choling, a Buddhist temple in the Vajrayana tradition. We'll begin this morning, well, it's morning for me anyway, with 3 repetitions of the 7-line prayer, which will appear on your screen. Hung organ yugi nup chang sam, pema ge sardum pola, yartsen chogi ngodrum ne, pema jung ne she sudrag, kordu kandro mangpo kor, kied ki jesu dag drup ki, chenji lop chir sheg zu so, guru pe ma siddhi hu, organ yugi nup chang sam, pe ma ge sardum pola, yartsen chogi ngodrum ne, pe ma jung ne she sudrag, kordu kandro mangpo kor, kied ki jesu dag drup ki, chenji lo chir sheg zu so, guru pe siddhi hu, organ yugi nup chang sam, pe ma ge sardum pola, yartsen chogi ngodrum ne, pe ma jung ne she sudrag, kordu kandro mangpo kor, kied ki jesu dag drup ki, chenji lop chir sheg zu so, guru pe ma si That enables you to hold your spine straight all the way up to the top of the head, so you may need to pull your chin in a little bit towards the spine. Arms are just relaxed on the legs. The jaw is relaxed, and the lips and the teeth are not touching. Eyes are open, focused down, and the tongue is lifted so that it's touching the roof of the mouth where the upper palate and the top teeth come together. Now, some of these aspects of the posture might be a little bit uncomfortable if you haven't engaged before, or if you've tried a different meditation practice and it has instructed you differently. It takes a while because we are changing something, and we all know about change, how hard that is. I was thinking about that this morning, and it isn't always hard. So maybe we need to stop thinking about it that way. Sometimes as we grow, mature, which we can do our whole lives if we let ourselves, things just change naturally, just on their own. Maybe we've changed an attitude, or maybe we're meditating 5 minutes every day, and things just change. Maybe our astrological configurations allow for us to change. Some people think astrology is not reliable science, and maybe it isn't, but it does tell you probabilities. So it gives you a heads up, and that way we can work with stuff. So I can't verify the astrological readings from the newspapers. I don't know. But anyway, it can be helpful if you're into it or want to check it out. Okay, so we have our posture. This is called the 7-point posture of Vairocana. Vairocana was a Buddha, is a Buddha, and you may not want to be a Buddhist or be a Buddha, but you don't have to be to do this practice. Just know that it comes from a wisdom mind, a primordial wisdom mind that has transcended what we call samsara, cyclic existence, and it's reliable. It has been used for centuries, probably for aeons. So although it takes a while to get into it, to deepen, if we haven't practiced before, but it does work. It does work. It's not something that somebody, this is what Jetsama was fond of saying often, it's not something that somebody invented last year. It's been around for a really long time, and there have been many Buddhas. Actually, the one that we know of today is the 4th Buddha of this aeon only. So there have been previous Buddhas in this aeon and previous Buddhas in previous aeons, and wisdom is wisdom, and the teachings are the same. Whether it was 3 aeons ago or from this aeon, if it comes from the mind of enlightenment, it leads to enlightenment. And you don't have to go that deep or that far. It will benefit you anyway. 5 minutes a day, that's it. And you may find that it's so beneficial or so comforting or whatever it is for you that you want to create a long-time habit, a long-term habit, and maybe even find time to meditate more than 5 minutes a day. Okay, so we've got the posture, feet flat, legs crossed, spine straight, arms relaxed. This helps to relax the whole upper part of the body. Chin tucked, jaw relaxed, tongue lifted, lips and teeth not touching, eyes open. Sometimes this is difficult for people to adjust to. Just, do the best you can. We don't remember when we were little and we were learning to walk and we fell down and we got up and we walked again because there's something over there that we wanted. Well, what do you want? You want serenity in your life? You want the ability to deal with things without freaking out, and falling apart, running away? Whatever it is, this will help. This will help. So the technique itself is simple. As I've been saying for weeks now, simple but not easy, because we're not accustomed to allowing our minds to just settle. Thich Nhat Hanh used the image of a still body of water, very clean and clear, and dropping a coin and just watching it settle to the bottom. Just saying that and visualizing that brings some calm to the mind. So, the technique, as I was beginning to say, is as we become aware that our mind is getting engaged in busyness that has nothing to do with meditation, we bring our attention back to our breath. The breath is consistent, it's constant, we can rely on it, because nobody's going to fall over dead during my meditation instruction. I forbid it. And that's the only way that the breathing stops. So, we have this beautiful bowl, and this can also help in the beginning because you can hear the vibration slow down. And it's almost like watching that coin settle on the bottom of the lake or whatever it is. As the vibration slows down, we can slow down a little bit more with it. So you don't want to fixate on it. You don't want to fixate on anything, not even your breath. But you always bring the attention back to the breath and keep breathing. Don't criticize, don't judge, don't grade yourself on how you're doing. Just do. Do and be. That's all. That's all you need to do. So we'll start with a gong, and we'll meditate for a little bit. And I will gong again, which is just to help us bring ourselves back to the meditation. Because our minds are used to wandering, and we don't notice it. We don't pay attention. So when we hear the gong, we're going to check our posture, make sure we're still good, we're not leaning in any direction, our spines are straight, eyes are open, we haven't dropped our heads. We want this to be as straight as we can manage. And bring our attention back to our breath. And then the third gong will be, come back. We're going to do something else. Okay? Okay, so again, check your posture and take a deep breath. And let it out slowly. Take a deep breath. All the way into the belly. And let it out slowly. Deep breath. And let it out slowly. Now allow your breath to assume a normal rhythm. And begin. Check your posture. Come back to your breath. Take a deep breath and let it out slowly. And begin again. Gently bring yourself back. Okay, the second meditation practice that we do is called Tonglen, or sending and receiving. And stabilizing mind is really about, it's an internal practice. You may find yourself, from doing stabilizing the mind, you may find yourself examining some of your habits and attitudes. So you can change. We're not going to call it the dreaded C word anymore. But the Tonglen has to do with other. It also is a meditation using the breath. And we have two things, one of two things we can focus on as we're doing this practice. As we exhale light or positive energy. And as we inhale, we take in darkness or negative energy. His Holiness the Dalai Lama explains the practice by using joy instead, exhaling joy. And he says the source of all joy, to breathe out joy and the source of all joy. The source of all joy is something to think about. We don't have time in this class to talk about it, but it might be something you want to think on. And when your mind gets calm enough, when they say meditate on this, it means that you have heard it or read it, you've thought about it, and then you allow the mind to, I guess you could say, dwell on it, but in an open way. We're not directing any thought. We're just allowing the mind to rest with that idea and see what happens. So we can use either one. And His Holiness says, and I've been sharing this quite a bit, but I'll just share a little bit of it today. He says, of course we cannot change their situation. I do feel that in some cases, through a genuine sense of caring and compassion, through our sharing in their plight, our attitude can help alleviate their suffering, if only mentally. Now, I don't think, not to contradict His Holiness, I don't think only applies in this situation, because everything arises from the mind. And so if we're helping them to change their mind, then we're helping them, hopefully, to be able to cope with the situation, to look at it in a different way, to look at it with light, if you care to use that term, or through light, through joy, through a calm mind, through compassion and caring. I said yesterday, you cannot do something positive or good for somebody else, regardless of what it is, without bringing benefit to yourself. Because in a spiritual way, we are all connected. Even though we don't necessarily feel that way, we couldn't all share the space that we share if we didn't have a connection. So sometimes it's a connection that brings us happiness and joy, and sometimes it's very uncomfortable. We can change it. And we can change it with both of these practices, actually, using both of these practices. So the Tonglen, again, I'm talking too much, I'm sorry. The Tonglen, what we need to do is figure out who we want to do this for. And we actually have some choices here. We can do this for a loved one, or a group of loved ones, a family group, or some other group, like colleagues at work, maybe an organization that we belong to, whoever. But people that we care about genuinely, that we care about their plight, as His Holiness says. Or it can be someone that we're having difficulty with. That is an antagonistic relationship that we just can't seem to change. This practice over time can change that. I have experienced that myself. So I'm speaking from a truth that I know from my practice. The third one is a negative relation, not a negative relationship, a neutral relationship. I think those are hard to come by. Do the best you can. You know, somebody that you see but don't know well enough to have opinions and attitudes about, and we tend to create opinions and attitudes at first sight, so do the best you can with that one. And then the last one is a group. And we have lots of groups that we can, groups that we're not necessarily emotionally attached to, like our family. Like, for instance, you might want to take on something big, like just in our county alone, there are a lot of hungry people. Maybe we want to send them happiness, joy, and see them be satisfied and content. Or maybe we have some connection to the Middle East, which we all do. Some of us maybe more directly than others. And we want to put some joy, some light into that situation. Ukraine. It could be a small group of just a few people, or a large group like millions of citizens in Israel and Gaza and all of the other Arab countries who are also getting their shackles raised. I don't want to dwell on that too much, but it is in my mind a lot. And it affects all of us. The oceans are not that big anymore, you know. And of course we have social media and all that good stuff. So, posture is the same. We're breathing in and out through our nose, and I'm going to allow you to choose any one of those four for yourself. If we are doing it longer than you can maintain your focus and you want to move to another group or another individual, feel free to do that. And just remember, we're exhaling light or joy, and we see those faces of whomever it is we're doing this meditation for. We see those faces light up with happiness. It's so much joy, and it just comes. We all have it. It's just buried under all our stuff. And then as we inhale, we see satisfaction and contentment on their faces. So, do we have any questions here in the room? Are we good? Okay. So we'll do just one gong in the beginning and one gong in the end. Make your visualization as clear as you can. If it helps you to visualize with your eyes closed for this practice, go ahead and do that, at least in the beginning, until you feel comfortable with exactly what you're doing. Okay, check your posture. Take a deep breath and let it out slowly. Into the belly, another time, deep breath. And one more. Now, make sure your visualization is established as best as you can, as clear as you can. And beginning with an exhalation, send it out there. Gently bring yourself back. Okay, so I have just banished dreaded C words. There are no more dreaded C words. They're all joyful, happy words now. Wasn't that easy after all this time? Okay, so if there are no questions, we'll do some closing prayers. These are a little bit extensive, not as extensive as what we do when we practice together, but I just wanted to preface our dedication by saying it's good to dedicate when you practice, and if you don't have any kind of dedication memorized, then all you need to do is when you finish your practice, just say out loud or in your mind, may all beings benefit. That's it, that's all it takes. And with the Tonglen, sometimes it takes a little while. I don't know. Jetsama says with the stabilizing the mind, within 5 days you'll notice something is happening. I don't know about the Tonglen. She's never said anything like that about the Tonglen, and the only thing I can tell you from my experience is that it can take a while, but it works. It works. So we'll do our closing prayers. On your screen, throughout my many lives and until this moment, whatever virtue I've accomplished, including the merit generated by this practice, and all that I will ever attain, this I offer for the welfare of sentient beings. May sickness, war, famine, and suffering be decreased for every being, while their wisdom and compassion increase in this and every future life. May I clearly perceive all experiences to be as insubstantial as the dream fabric of the night, and instantly awaken to perceive the pure wisdom display in the arising of every phenomenon. May I quickly attain enlightenment in order to work ceaselessly for the liberation of all sentient beings. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas all together, whatever kind of motivation you have, whatever kind of beneficial action, whatever kind of wishing prayers, whatever kind of omniscience, whatever kind of life accomplishment, whatever kind of benevolent power, and whatever kind of immense wisdom you have, similarly I, who have come in the same way to benefit beings, pray to attain these qualities. By this effort, may all sentient beings be free of suffering. May their minds be filled with the nectar of virtue. In this way, may all causes resulting in suffering be extinguished, and only the light of compassion shine throughout all realms. I don't know if it would work with the people on YouTube, but for the people here, if you want to have a dedication prayer, you could just probably take a picture on your phone, just those last 4 lines on the bottom of the page. Never occurred to me before.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah, on your phone. But I don't know if you can do it from your screen. So do the best you can, as always. Okay. Here at the temple, we have had only one incident that I know of a recurrence of COVID. So we are masking here. I'm not masked because it's hard to give instruction with a mask on. It kind of muffles your voice, which you probably know. But there are some masks here. If you're coming, bring a mask, or if you forget we have them, we really don't want to close down again. So please help us to observe this request. And the other requests I've been making for a long time and will continue to make until there are no more people going hungry. Help us to help the hungry people and donate to KPC Buddhist Relief, or I'm sure there's a way to check in at the site if you want to volunteer in some way. As I say every time, we are sending out tons, literally tons of food, and we haven't reached everybody in Montgomery County yet. So help us help them. Every little bit helps. You know, some milk and crackers for a kid, for crying out loud. Do what you can. Thank you. And be careful. Wear a mask. Get